Hi, welcome to Diamond Custom Paint Shop. This is video number 7 in a series of videos called Bobber, where I take bare metal bobber parts from start to finish. So like I said, from bare metal all the way to a finished custom paint job. If you haven't seen my previous videos to get us up to this point, just subscribe to my channel and you'll be able to see the previous videos and get caught up to this point here. So in the last video, we went ahead and did the marble effect. And here you can see it's all clear coated. We're going to end up scuffing this down to do the leafing on, but here's the clear coated marble. And then before that, we laid down this silver, and then this is where we're going to be putting the gold leaf inside of the silver, leaving pinstripes on the side. And this is the video where I kept talking about it in previous videos. This will just be the silver pinstriping. Well, this is the video. You'll be able to see that happen. And like I said, we're going to be laying down some gold leaf on all the parts. I already did the tank and the oil tank, and I just have the fender left to do and the headlight. I'm not doing a video on every single part because the videos would be super long. So we're just going to do it probably do it on this one side of the fender. Show you that, how to lay it down. And yeah, so the products I'm going to be using is from Limeline. Limeline has a different way of doing gold leafing. Instead of using a sizing glue, the old, where you brush it on and you wait, an hour or whatever it is to let that set up and then put your leaf on. Limeline uses this spray-on sizing glue, and it's water-based. So it's really easy to mix. You mix it 1-to-1, 50-50 with just regular tap water, and then you'll spray it out of an airbrush, and it goes on really good. You'll see in this video how easy it is to do. So yeah, so we're going to be using the sizing glue from Limeline. We're going to be using some gold leafing from Limeline. It comes in this booklet here. He also has silver leaf, copper, and variegated. So go ahead and check those out on the Limeline site. Let me just open this here and I'll show you how this comes. You'll know it's the gold because it has a little gold sticker there. So then you pull this out and it's in a little booklet. Got a sticker. It's got a little rubber band around it. I'm just going to pull this off so you can see the sheets in there. I don't know how many sheets in there, but it's quite a bit. We'll just put the rubber band back on this. So yeah. So then the other products we're going to be using is the brush. I'll just let that sit there. Is this brush here from Limeline, and this roller to kind of press down your leafing after you get it down. And this is a Limeline also. I think this comes in a kit. These two, I think you can get them together if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not positive. And then the spinners here, we have 1 1/4, a 1 inch, and then a 1/2 inch. And this gives you that spin, the engine turn look in the end. After we get everything all finished up, we'll do this at the very end. And I'm going to use the 1 inch in my case. So, and then I got a little tip that I kind of figured out to get you out of trouble using this little brush here. So you'll see when we start spraying the sizing, I'll explain to you when we're doing it. You have to spray it really light coats. You don't want to cake it on and I'll show you on another piece of metal or something what can happen and what you do to fix it. It may happen while I'm doing this, so I may be able to do it during doing my project here. But you're going to spray light mist coats on, but if you happen to oversaturate and it beads up, you don't want that beading up to be there, because when you lay your leaf on it and it dries, you're going to see that beading, and especially when you try to turn it, you're going to definitely see it when you try to turn it. because what happens is you have that texture of glue under there of that beading. And so what I've found, I've already tried it and it works pretty good. If you do get beading up, you have to catch it right away. Notice when you do it, and you just get this wet with water, and you just lightly rub across those beads to kind of smooth them out. And then you'll want to spray a light mist over that again on your part. So all right, yeah, we'll get this set up. I got a special jig I made for this fender, because you can see we're going to do this side and this side. So if I put it like this, on the first one's fine, but when this is already leafed, I can't set this down on that side. You're going to ruin your leaf. So I built a little jig where I can flip it to the other side and it's going to hold it up. It won't be touching that side, and you'll see that here in a minute. So, all right, well, let's get to it. When we come back, we'll have this set up and we'll get started. Like I said, I'm going to scuff this down first, so it'll all be scuffed down in the next video. So, all right, let's get to it. Okay, we're back. One other thing I use fine line tape. You want to use vinyl tape when you're taping out for your gold leaf. So then when you pull your tape off the gold leaf, it leaves a nice edge there. If you use masking, it doesn't work as good if you're going to use that as your final edge against the gold leaf. So I use fine line vinyl tape, and then I'll use the masking to kind of mask off outside of that. So then also I didn't mention the airbrush I'm using is Iwata HPCS, and this has a 0.5 tip in it to spray this glue. And I'm at about 38 PSI, something like that. Got it turned up a little bit for the glue. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we'll tape out here for like I said, we're going to have the gold leaf in this area right here. So and then we're going to have a silver pinstripe here. So we'll just start kind of taping this off here. I'm just going to follow this edge of the silver where the silver meets up to the black there. It's the first time using this jig here, so I think this stuff's getting in my way a little bit here. We'll make her work though. As you can see, this jig just kind of holds up under here, and it's going to hold this bottom side up so it's not touching anything. Otherwise, what you would have to do is you would do this one side, then you could do the top, and then clear coat it, and then do the other side if you needed to set it down on some. Or you could set it like when I clear coat these, I have a stand where this just sets face up on it. But I like to have my projects, and you'll see if you start gold leafing, it's easier to have your projects facing up so you can lay your gold leaf down than if I was to try to do it onto the side and try to get that gold leaf onto the side, if that makes sense. So I always try to do whatever I can to have my project facing up. It's just a lot easier. Probably get it done with it on its side, like vertical, but it would be hard. Okay. In this instance, if anything, you want to make sure you're this way of the black, because you don't want to be this way too far, then you'll cut your silver pinstripe short, the width of it. So I can kind of do it where I can just barely maybe see the silver if I look hard enough. Yeah, it's close enough with that. Okay, that's our 16th. Now we're going to go with our 1/8 inch. So we have an 1/8 inch pinstripe on the top of that. Another thing with this, the way this leafing works, is you can do as many layers as you need to. So say you do, and I always double leaf it, which means 2 layers. So that way you get a nice clean edge, and you'll see, I'll show you that. Because when you do the first layer, you might have spots that didn't quite get it good enough, but then when you do the second layer, all that gets patched up. But let's say you still weren't happy after the second layer, something happened. You just burnish it down real good so everything's smooth, and you just do another layer. Like on the tank, on the side of the tank, there was one spot, I actually did it 4 times because I kept getting a pretty good wrinkle that I couldn't get out. So, and it's easy to do, so I just did it again. If it doesn't come out right how you want it, just do it again because it doesn't take very long to do another layer. Okay, there we go. So there's that. Now I'll take my 1/4 inch masking. Love this stuff. It's the best thing since sliced bread, I think. And you'll just kind of mask around this. And I'll show you in a minute, I have a way of that I like to mask so I don't have to mask off the whole part with tape. I either use plastic or I use paper, depending on the kind of what I'm doing. In this instance, I'm probably going to use plastic. I like this 1/4 inch masking tape by Limeline because you can really almost follow the same curve as this fine line tape. It's pretty good. Sometimes you have to kind of sit and work it, but it'll go without wrinkling up. Then a lot of times they're doing sharper curves. You can get this side smooth, which you need, but the back side will wrinkle like crazy, but that's okay. But you can usually get this usually takes some pretty good turns. Okay, we'll just double check. Another thing I wanted to mention is when you're sanding this down, you want to make sure where you're going to be leafing in here, you want that really smooth, because any kind of orange peel or anything, if you have it in there, it'll show with the leaf, because that leaf is just really paper thin. You'll see once I start working with it. It's got a piece here that kind of folded up on the edge, so I'm just going to I don't want to have glue blow past through there. There we go. And then I'm going to take 1 inch Limeline 1-inch masking. You can see right there, Limeline. Now just kind of follow this one. And this is all the tape on the part she ended up using right here. Anytime the least amount of tape you can use, this piece of wood there is really getting in my way. Least amount of tape you can use on a part, the better. Reduces your risk of lifting paint. Okay, then what I'm going to use is I got this plastic here. I just get this off Amazon, and this has tape on the one side. I don't necessarily love the tape on the one side. Should actually just cut that with a knife and pull that off. But because the tape, once you try to pull this out, that tape on there always gets caught up on the plastic. So usually what I like to do is I'll pull enough length out of this, and then I'll cut that tape off first. That should be good. Okay, we'll get that tape out of the way. Now unfold the plastic all the way. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll just kind of lay this over the part. Tuck this down in there. Like that. Then I'll lightly, doesn't take much to cut this, especially if you have a sharp blade here. You just barely drag this across it and it'll cut it. So you kind of just do the outline of what you want exposed. Like I'm barely even putting any pressure on this blade. I'm just kind of letting it drag across there. pull that piece out. Get it positioned on there, kind of away from your area. And I'll just take a piece of tape then, 1-inch tape, and just follow this around again. Taping that, getting that plastic. You can move the plastic around to get it where you want it. Just as long as you have that barrier sealed between this spot and the plastic. That's all you need. If you have to, you can pull a little more out. See, like right here, right there, I didn't get that gap. It's right up to the edge of the plastic, so just got to check that. Make sure you're actually sealing that gap there. Okay, and then double check everything, kind of give it a pull down. Okay, that's it. Then you're ready to start spraying the glue. It's that easy. Okay. I already have the glue mixed up in my airbrush, 1-to-1, like I said, with just regular tap water. I got a little test piece of paper here, make sure everything's spraying good. Like I said, light coats. And we're going to get our brush on standby. Kind of get it wet. But first, before we spray the glue, I always like to get my leafing ready. Kind of laid out, makes it easier. One thing I'm going to do on this is cut these down the middle, so it makes it easier to kind of lay them around there. So I'm just going to grab a stack here. That. I'll grab a straight edge here. So lay those down on this wood here. And I'll just take my razor knife and just slice this. I didn't cut all the way down there a little bit. I didn't press hard enough the first time. Kind of get a clean cut through all of them, but we got her. Then what I like to actually do is get these kind of laid out and ready, so I'm not fumbling with them once I need to lay them down. So first I'm going to see how many I need. So we'll just kind of take one of these pieces of paper that came off of it. You're going to overlap them, so take account for that. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 pieces ready. Just kind of get them separated, 5 of them, and set them off to the side here. Take the leaf and the paper underneath it. And then one extra in case I screw it up. I'll save this stack for my second layer. Okay, everything's set up and I think we're ready to go. Start spraying some glue on. Especially the first coat, you want to be really light with. Kind of get that base set up there. Real light mist. Now I'm just, I'm not spraying that whole time. I'm kind of working the trigger to kind of give it a little as I go across there. And you'll kind of let that sit for a minute. And in your first layer, you might not feel it kind of tack up. You'll feel it a little bit. Okay, just another light coat. And then too, you want to make sure you aim in towards the edges. You want to make sure you get glue up inside that edge both ways, so you get a nice clean edge. Okay, there. Now that when you spray the second coat, you can kind of start feeling the tack pretty good. I usually do 3-4 coats, just until you kind of feel it. You want it to feel like the back side of the tape is pretty much how you want it to feel. Kind of once you start feeling this tack up, you can do another coat. Now I'm about 10 inches back. Yep, starting to tack up really good now. Just going to do one more coat, I think, and we'll lay down the leaf. Okay, it's tacked up pretty good. And the flatter you lay this, the better your outcome is going to be. Just give a little tap. Just got a little tip here. And I like to take these ones I took off and kind of, because you're going to have glue over here, so it doesn't get on your brush as much. You don't want glue on your brush. So then first thing you're going to do is take your brush, and you're just going to tamp down, especially on your where all your seams are. Tamp straight down. Don't brush it side to side, or you're going to expose the glue because you'll rub it up off it itself. We're just going to go through, just tamp everything down. And then after we get everything tamped down, then we're going to start working the brush to get all the leafing worked into the edges. And I like, since my overlaps are this way, instead of brushing it along back on itself, I like to start from this end and work that way. So I'm going to start on this edge, and you'll see once you tuck those in, there's like a little bridge between the tape and the leaf. You want to get that to go away. So it's basically getting it pressed down with the bristles of the brush. So I'll just start kind of going at the, tamping at the edge there, maybe just with a little bit of a brush action, not a lot. See, there's a spot where a little bit of the, see a little bit of the underneath, so we'll just get a little piece and stick it on there. And if you notice along your edge, you get some spots where it's kind of, leaf isn't there. You'll see little tiny areas. Don't worry about it, because when you do the second layer, that'll all be fixed. This one's looking pretty good so far, though. Okay, I'll start from this end again, do the other side. Okay, looks pretty good. Now we'll just kind of go and burnish, especially our seams here, kind of burnish those. Get it so there's no loose leaf on there. You'll be see it's kind of be like a skin, like a little tag. You just gotta kind of work some like metal, so you just kind of work it back and forth till they come off. Okay. I'm just using really light pressure, if any, just kind of with pressure of the brush. This thing, you want to make sure you get any texture there is out, because then it'll show in the next layer. So where there was creases kind of in your leafing, you can just kind of, like I'm doing here, just burnishing it out so there's no loose like pieces of metal sticking up or leafing. Sometimes they can be stubborn. Okay, looks pretty good. I think we're ready for the next layer. Get me some more leaf sheets ready. Okay, got those ready. Make sure I got enough glue in here. My airbrush. Yep. So first thing you want to do is blow this off with air, because when you're spraying your glue, you don't want any of these loose pieces of leafing flying on there, because that will just create a texture underneath you're trying to lay down. So I'm just using air, just kind of blowing, getting all this, any loose pieces off here. Okay. All right, here we go. Light coats again. Okay, I see where I got some texture built up. So right here, so I'm going to take my brush kind of all along here. Kind of brush that real light. Brush that texture away. Okay. And then you'll spray just. Yeah, it's almost ready to go. I'll do one more coat after this. Let this dry for a second. When I do have to wipe it like that, I like to go over, do another couple of coats of glue to make sure everything's even with the glue. Okay. Yeah, that's ready. And I like to go opposite side. So last time I started from that way. This time I'll start from this side, just kind of so your seams don't line up in the same exact spot. Whether it matters or not, I don't know. Okay, same thing. Just go ahead and start tamping down with the brush, especially straight down on your seams. And I'll start working it here. The edges. And you'll see how nice when you double layer or double leaf like this, how nice that second layer is looking and lays down. You do the first layer, it looks all right, unless you're really good and you can get it perfect the first time, but like I said, you can do this process as many times as you want. I could go ahead and once we get this edges tucked in and burnished down again, I could do another layer. Everything's looking good so far, so I don't think I'll have to. Like, let's say you're doing this and you still got some edges or something that didn't get it, then go ahead and do another layer. Just make sure, and then when you spray in your glue, say you do have some problem areas, kind of make sure you're really don't saturate it. You don't want those, build up the glue, but just make sure you're getting those areas really good. So then your leafing will stick in that area that you're having troubles with. You can see this does take quite a bit of time to this whole process if you're doing a whole motorcycle. So make sure you are, this is an extra when you're doing this, because it is kind of, it's not really too difficult, but it is kind of hard to do to get it perfect. But anybody wants a little bit of practice, you'll get it. Every time you do it, it'll get better. You'll do it the first time, it'll be okay. And you'll do it the second time, it'll be twice as good. And then after your third time, you'll pretty much have it down professional like. And once we get these edges tucked in, kind of burnish it a bit, burnish our seams, we'll get that roller and we'll just kind of roll it down. We'll just make sure everything's stuck down good. Added insurance. I like to do it, use the roller like I talked about in a minute here, and then after I pull the tape, I'll show you that. I'll like to roll it again, because then you can really get on your edges. You make sure you look inside these little points here. Make sure you really get in there and get those down. Looks like I did. Okay. And the key here to this, when you're burnishing your seams, is real light pressure. Because you don't, last thing you want to do is expose some glue, because then that's what happens to me once in a while. You expose some glue, then it'll streak it across here, and then you pretty much have to do another layer. So I've learned to be real light on my seams. And then I always spin it once I pull the tape too, so I don't have that bridge of the tape there to hold my spinner back. This one turned out really good. So it's good. I got to show you guys a little tip. If you do get that beaded up glue on there, kind of a way to fix that real quick. But make sure you are watching for it and you notice it, because if it starts to dry like that, it's kind of a little too late. But I do know it sucks if you have that beaded up glue underneath, because you will see it. It looks pretty bad, especially when you go to you'll see the texture in there, but when you go to spin it with that, it just kind of tears. Obviously it just exposes those beads of glue is always what it does. Okay, I think we about got her. Okay, let's pull some tape. And even when you're pulling this plastic off, make sure you're pulling away from your leafing. You don't want to pull towards it, because if you have any bridging there, it'll tear that leafing off. So just always get in the habit of everything you do that way. That way you'll never have any issues. And then another thing to mention too, so once you've done this side, and then I still have 2 more sides to do. So when you're doing that, when you're pulling your tape off, be mindful of where your tape is at in your hands. Do not let it get away from you, because let's say I'm doing the top and a piece of my masking, as I'm demasking it, falls onto this leafing, the sticky side. It's gonna pull it up. So just be mindful of that when you're doing multiple spots and you're unmasking. Don't let any of the tape get away from you. And I always pull my tape off fairly slowly. Don't just go yanking on it. Because what can happen, let's say you're scuffing this down. Let's say you had a nib in it, you had a big piece of dust in it, so you kind of sanded that area a little bit more. Let's say you sand that down so that clear coat that you have on there is so thin, like paper thin. If you go yanking this tape up, you're going to yank that clear coat layer off with it. So I just like to kind of go slow. Again, pull my tape back on a sharp angle back on itself. Keep it low to the I'm saying low. So you're not pulling up like this, you're pulling it back. That's just me. You do what works best for you. I just kind of find that helps me alleviate some problems. Yeah, it might take a minute longer, but you're doing a custom paint job. And 2, I like to pull 1 set of tape at a time, so everything's controlled. And then 2, as you're pulling your tape, kind of look at it still, just to make sure you got all your edges tucked in. Keep giving it that little visual inspection. It'd be funny if it pulled up some clear coat, you'd see me cuss after I just got done talking about it. Then I'd show you how to fix it. Okay. Now this smaller 1/4 inch green masking tape from Limeline. One thing I like about it too is it's not real tacky either. Not like the yellow 1 inch I was just using. Okay, now for the finale, the fine line, the Limeline fine line tape reveal. Just kind of pull it. I pull mine at a 90 degrees off to itself, and I pull it slowly, just watching the edge there. If you did see it to start to lift, you can try to save it by if you got a plastic razor blade like this guy here. So let's say that edge started to lift. You could probably set that right there, kind of press down a little bit, and then try to pull your tape past it. It's always worth trying to save. If you can't, in the end, then you can't. Oh, I forgot to roll it. That's okay. We can roll it here in a second. Okay, the Limeline 16th inch vinyl reveal. No, never celebrate too early. Jinx myself. Looking good. All right. Turned out good. Okay. So I got the roller here. If you have, doesn't have it on right now, but if you get some metal flakes stuck to it, I just kind of hold it so it can't turn and rub that spot on my jean back and forth, and it'll come off. So basically all you do is just take it, you just steamroll it. There we go. And that'll kind of make sure everything's pressed down, and I'll go through, kind of burnish again, because your edges will have a little bit of, sticking up real lightly. Just go along. So you can see some of it's coming off. That, once you pull your tape, that kind of lifts up a little bit, the little edge there. Okay, now we'll spin it. Got my 1 inch spinner. Now when you press, you can see when I press on my skin here, that's all I'm pressing. But since you double layered it, even if you press a little harder, it's not going to hurt anything. You're not going to burn through. I just found it works best if you do, kind of lighter you go. I found out if you do have any kind of raised glue by chance somewhere, sometimes you can get away from it showing if the lighter you go, but everything looks pretty good on this. So we're just going to start here. I'm going to do like 40% overlap. If you're interested in getting some of these supplies, go to Limeline Paint Supply. If you use the link down in my description, you'll get 10% off any of the products. I am a part of the affiliate program on there, so I get a small kickback if you want to help support me in my channel. Okay, there we go. It's as easy as that. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and finish up the other sides, and then I'll do a recap of this video in the end and get it out to you guys. Okay, well, there you go. There's the leafing. As you can see, it turned out pretty good. And all the parts, everything, all my edges are pretty clean all the way around. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with how everything turned out. A few things I want to recap on that I kind of went over in the video, but I just want to touch on once again. That's kind of important when you're leafing. The first thing is leaf at least 2 times when you're using this method. You'll notice when you do the first time, your edges, some edges might be missed, but once you do that second coat of leafing, those edges will fill right in and everything's going to look perfect. So yeah, at least 2 times. And then if you have spots where maybe a piece of leaf folded over on itself or something, or you got a real bad wrinkle, just burnish it down with the brush. When I say burnish, that means just rub it back and forth with the brush really good until that there's no texture there. That's all kind of smoothed out. Sometimes it takes a while because you'll see the metal. You have to kind of break the metal off. We'll have a little tag there of metal kind of back and forth. So just real lightly, keep brushing it. It'll eventually go away, and then do another coat of leaf on that. And you can do it as many times as you want until you get it how you want it. Make sure there's no, like I said, real bad wrinkles, or say a piece of leaf folded on itself and you got, you'll be able to see that. So let's see, I got my little list here. So then I showed you when you're spraying your glue on with your airbrush, and let's say you get a little overzealous with your trigger and you plow a bunch of glue on there and you see it beads up. I showed you how you can just get a brush like this. Make sure it's kind of a pretty fine brush. This is just, I think these are just cheap brushes, probably off Amazon. I'm sure my wife had a whole pack of them. But yeah, you'll just take one of these brushes, get it kind of damp, and then just lightly brush over those beads until you kind of smooth them out. Don't do it too hard because you don't want to leave more texture in there. You don't want to leave lines instead of the beads. So just real lightly brush those little beads of glue out of there. And then what I recommend, just so you don't have any texture, after you brush those beads out of the way, go ahead and spray 2 more coats of glue on there. Wait for it to tack up a little bit, then spray another one. But I at least do 2 more after that, just to make sure that spot where you brushed it fills back in with a nice smooth layer of glue on there. And then you wait, feel it with your finger on the next to it where you're going to lay down the leaf on the tape, and you'll feel it. It'll feel like the back side of the tape. It'll feel sticky like that, and that's when you know it's ready to start laying your leaf down. When you have all your leaf down, you're going to have seams. Where you lay down a piece of leaf, and then you lay down another one. You're going to have that seam there. So the very first thing I do, as you saw, is I'll go around and I'll dab all my seams really good. And then after you do that, then what I do is I'll start working my edges, and I work my edges so I'm going across. So say you have an overlap like this, you put one down, you put another one down. So since I'm overlapped like this, I'll start over here with my seam, so when I get to that overlap, I'm not pulling this back, because what will happen is if you pull back on that, you could expose some glue there, and then you're going to have to do another layer of leaf because that glue will kind of smear up on there, and then there's nothing you can do about it. So yeah, I always kind of real lightly go this way along my seam, like that all the way around, and then tucking my edges in is what I'm talking about, tucking that edge up all the way up onto your so there's no bridge of leaf between your tape and the part. And you'll see what I'm talking about when you do it. You'll see that little bridge, and you'll see when it tucks in. You want to make sure that. So yeah, brush it across that seam at that direction, so it wipes that leaf off that way and not back on itself. So that's really important. And then when you do, so after I tuck my edges in, then I'll go back and I'll start burnishing. When I get to my seams, I'm talking, you just want to be like you barely do it on your hand, you barely feel those bristles. Just barely do it over that, like I said, because you don't want to brush too hard and pull that seam back and then expose some glue, and then you'll smear that glue on it. So yeah, and then lightly brush. And then the last thing is when you're pulling your tape, number one, be mindful where your tape is, the sticky part, because if you're pulling tape and it falls back onto your leaf, the sticky side, it's going to ruin your leaf. You're going to pull that, try to get it off, and it's just going to pull the leaf up. So no matter what, let's say you leaf this and then you're leafing this and you're pulling this tape up, just be mindful, always have that tape in your hand. And I always pull some up and I always cut it and get rid of it as soon as I can, the pieces of tape. So that's the first thing with the tape. The second thing is when you're pulling your tape, even when you're pulling your bigger masking, I'm always, just so I'm in the habit, I always pull it away from it and at an angle, just so you're not accidentally going to pull over the top of your leaf. And then just like with any painting, if you pull your tape towards it, it could peel it up onto it. So yeah, pull your tape slow and at a 90 to 45 degrees away from your project. So the products that we used in this video, I'll go over one more time. And then I'm going to go over, kind of tell you what it costs just to do the leafing part of it. So let's say you have your tanks already painted and then you just want to do the leafing part. I'm going to tell you what it costs to get into just doing the leafing. And then you can kind of know what you're in for if you want to do the leafing part of it. So the products that we did use, so the main thing, the Line sprayable sizing glue, water-based. Like you saw in the video, really easy to use. Just got to be mindful of a few little things here and there, but for the most part, pretty foolproof as far as that goes. We used an airbrush. Here I used an Iwata HPCS. It's kind of a medium cost, I would say, Iwata airbrush. But I changed the tip out in this a few years ago to a 0.5. And this works pretty good, but you don't have to spend money on this. You can go to Harbor Freight and grab your Avante airbrush for 20 bucks, and that'll work plenty good for any of this stuff. So then I used the brush to brush off the leaf. We used the roller to roll down the leaf, make sure it's stuck real good. All the glue, your leaf is stuck down under the glue. We used a spinner in the end. I used a 1 inch on this. You can get this from Line and a 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and a 1 1/4 inch. Then we used gold leaf, which comes in a packet here. I believe there's 100 sheets in these packets, which is quite a dang bit. So, and then for masking, we used just plastic masking wrap, I guess is what would be called. And then some of it I use the paper masking, but I use this stuff a lot too. Pretty cheap. You just get it off Amazon or eBay or something. You just get a roll of masking paper. So that comes in real handy. So let's go over the cost here and we'll start kind of, I wrote down a list here. We'll go down the list and I'll kind of tell you, this will give you an idea of what you're in for. So like I said, the airbrush, you can go to Harbor Freight and get you the Avante airbrush, and it's pretty dang good airbrush for 20 bucks. The only thing I found you have to be careful on is the needle on it when you're cleaning it. Just be really careful because the needles aren't as strong as like an airbrush you get like this. But as long as you're careful, you shouldn't have any problems. So yeah, $20 for an airbrush. And then of course you'll need a compressor. So get the Avante compressor from Harbor Freight. I think that runs like $99. You can probably get it wait for one of their coupons or sales, and you can probably get it for like probably $79 or something like that. So, but I'm not going to include the compressor in this price in the final end. I will include the airbrush price. So then the glue, $23 for the glue, roller and the brush come as a set, and that's $24. A pack of leaf is 20 bucks. The spinner is $50, and it comes with these, I think it's 5,000 grit pads. Comes with 2 of those pads with it. But you can save yourself quite a bit of money on Limeline's site right now. He's got the Ultimate Leaf Kit, and that'll come with, let's see, it comes with the roller brush. So it comes with, I'll just put everything over here it comes with. It's going to come with the roller and brush. It's going to come with the spinner. It's going to come with the glue. And and then it's going to have 2 packs of leaf. I believe you get the silver leaf and the gold leaf, or maybe the copper. I can't remember. But you get 2 packs of leaf, and each pack has 100 sheets in it, I believe. So yeah, and then all that is only $99. So that's a really good deal because if you added that all up, the other parts on their own, I don't know, you're at like $150 or something like that. And then you're going to need your tape, your fine line, and your masking tape. So your 1/4 inch fine line, which is the vinyl tape, is going to be $17. Your 1/8 inch, which is this one, the skinnier one, is $15. The 1/4 inch masking, which is my all-time favorite, as I've said before, this stuff is awesome. That's only $10 for a pack of that. And then you can get, I don't have it here, but the yellow masking tape, you can get that in a bundle pack. You get a 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and 1 1/4 inch rolls, 1 each, and that's only $13 for that. And then this plastic here, I just checked my Amazon when I bought this. You get 3 of these rolls for $16, so pretty dang cheap. So all together, it's $174 without the plastic. It's $174. But if you use my Limelight link in the description, you'll get 10% off. So you're talking $150, $156 exactly, and some change to really get everything you need to do a leafing project. And then if you add this, the $16 to this for the plastic, you're talking $170. So not too bad. And then once you have the kit, so then all you'll be buying is, the leafing sheets, whatever flavor you want. And this glue mixes 50-50 with water, so this glue lasts quite a while. So then every once in a while when you run out of glue, you'll get the glue. But you'll be able to reuse the spinner and all this other stuff. And then, you know, your tape is going to last you a while too. So, and then obviously the airbrush will last you. So yeah, so not too bad to get into doing a cool custom paint job. It really steps it up a notch when you're doing a custom paint job, when you do leafing. Like I said, if you are doing leafing, make sure, because it does take a little extra work rather than just, you know, laying down some paint. So make sure you're charging for that, what your time is worth, and you can decide on that. So yeah, so stay tuned for so what we're going to do next on this. I just cleared this yesterday, so I'm going to let it cure for another day, and then I'm going to scuff it down, and then I'm going to be doing some pinstriping designs on the top of the tank, on the top here of the headlight, on the top here of the fender, and of the oil tank here on the top of this here. So I'll probably do a little video of that, of me doing it. If the camera's in the way, then, because pinstriping is a little finicky for me, I'm not an expert at it, so if the camera's in the way, I won't shoot very much video, but I'll put a video out of that. And then once I do the pinstriping, I will do another coat of clear, because then at that point the project's going to be done basically. So I'll do another coat of clear coat. I'll wait a couple of days, scuff that down, do another coat of clear coat. I'll wait a few days, and then I'll cut and buff. So we're getting close to being done with this thing. So yeah, so if you like this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, so that way you won't miss any of the upcoming videos on this project. We're almost to the end, and you can go back and see my other videos up to this point. And if you have any questions on what I did here today, or if you just want to leave a comment, or if you want to see something done, I'll just put it in the comments, and I'll see if I can do it, squeeze it in somewhere if you want to see a certain process done. So yeah, just leave it down in the comment section there, and then I guess I'll see you on the next one.